Hello, everybody, and welcome back to an exciting and soon-to-be classic edition of Homestead Friends. I am here with Joe from Homesteadonomics, and I am not homesteading, Homesteadonomics. I got to get it right. I'm just so excited to be here with you, dude. You have a rock and roll awesome channel.
Oh, thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here, talking to you and, just shooting the stuff.
Well, brace for impact, sister, because we're going to town. So, so first of all, I'm new to your channel. I recently only found you maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and honestly, when I watched a few videos, I was like, I got to have this guy on. He is a baller. And so give us the 411 on your channel, who you are, what you've been doing, and we'll get into some questions, but give us the basics.
Okay, so for your subscribers that may not know me, my name is Joe. I have the channel Homesteadonomics, and basically it is just my little adventures into, I always refer to my home as a homestead. I think we're all hobby homesteaders. It's not like we're back to the 1880s or something like that. But basically my channel is just about me and my family trying to become a little more self-reliant, one step at a time. Not that I, plan to get off grid where I never go to the store again. I do like the comforts of society, but, I just like to be able to do for myself a little bit. So obviously most of what's on my channel is just, I'm making things versus having to buy them, doing some kitchen stuff. Basically it's similar stuff that's on your channel. I'm hoping to get in the livestock realm a little bit more, like you guys eventually, if I can talk my wife into it.
Oh, she's pushing back on the chickens. Well, you guys have chickens, but like,
oh yeah, she
goats?
loves the chickens. Yeah, she loves chickens, but I would love to do goats and maybe even rabbits, something like that. She's actually okay with fish, believe it or not.
Oh,
but
wow. Wow.
we live in Arizona, so the water is kind of an issue.
Yeah, yeah. Now, so you have clearly got some mad carpentry skills. Is this new to you, or is this something you've had most of your life? Because you built some pretty awesome projects.
Well, I wouldn't say it's new to me, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm good. I'm very average. I just use the camera and cover up my mistakes.
Ah,
But I've always been into making stuff. When I was I think maybe 6 or 7, I built my first plane out of a pallet and a 2x4.
wow.
Believe it or not, it didn't leave the ground. I had an industrial rubber band and a propeller that was probably about that long. Go figure. But I was never really good. I just like to tinker on things. And several years ago, maybe 2008, my wife and I built our first home. I didn't build everything by hand, but I acted as the general contractor, got the loan. So I hired out a lot of stuff, but there was a lot of stuff I had to do. I did portions of the trim, shelving, portions of the framing. I actually had a friend of mine that did 95% of the framing. I hired him out to do that. But, through that process, the skills that I did have, they went up a little bit just from, just having to learn how to do things, hanging cabinets and above my washer and dryer and, things that I had never done before, fixing drywall patches. It's all very simple stuff. It's just, you just got to do it.
So now, one of the videos that instantly made me go, all right, this dude's a total rock star. I'm down with this channel, is your sunken greenhouse. Talk about that sunken greenhouse. Why did you do it? How long did it take you? The video is really cool. So if you haven't seen it, got to see the sunken greenhouse.
Yeah, there's still parts like 4 and 5 waiting to come out. It's not completely finished, but it's for the most part functional now. So a while ago, I think I heard on a podcast or something like that, somebody was talking about a wallopini and a sunken pit greenhouse, and I was thinking, what the heck are these things? Is this some hippie stuff? I'm kind of like a modern hippie by some standards, but anyway, I kind of looked into it and thought, man, that would be really cool. And then after that, I was on Craigslist. I bought a Harbor Freight greenhouse, and if anybody's had experience with a Harbor Freight greenhouse, get your running shoes on. You'll be chasing those panels down for quite a while. Nothing against Harbor Freight. I actually have gotten quite a few things from them, But like any store, some things are duds and some things are pretty decent. The greenhouse, if you live in an area with above 5-mile-an-hour winds, you probably don't want it. So
Wow.
yeah, I had a bad experience with that, and then I started thinking about that sunken greenhouse, and then this January we got some pretty decent rains, and I live in Arizona, so they don't come all the time, and the ground was a little bit softer, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So that's what it started out as. Dug a hole and basically framed up a greenhouse on top of it. And the advantages are it's supposed to, theoretically take advantage of the thermal mass of the earth, and in my environment, stay low to the ground so that the winds don't take it away.
So where are you at? You're about 3/4 of the way done.
I would say 85%. Actually closer to, about 85. I still need to build some retaining walls inside the greenhouse just to flush everything up a little bit. We have really hard ground. I have no concern with them actually falling in. But just to make it a little bit nicer so I can attach shelves to things, and just have it a nice environment for me to literally go in and maybe even make some update videos and stuff in the greenhouse. So I got to do those. That's the biggest thing. And then I'm going to landscape around it. I'm going to do a rainwater catchment system because I'm huge into rainwater catchment. And then I have a thermal tunnel. Basically, I'm going to dig a trench and make a tunnel where air can pass through the earth and then come into the greenhouse, hopefully cooled.
That is really, really cool. So now the self-reliant life, the homesteading kind of, I'm going to do this on my own kind of lifestyle. How long you been into that, and why did you start?
You know what? I wouldn't say I've probably been into it since the early 2000s. Like everybody who's into self-reliance or homesteading or anything, everybody hit the bug where it was the prepper kind of thing where you're like, oh crap, I better go get some gas cans and some water cans.
And bullets.
there's still a portion of me that's in there, but no, I would say I've always kind of been into it. On my dad's side, we had a big hunting family down in Louisiana, and these are guys who built everything themselves, and even if they could afford something, they would rather build it. And then on my mom's side, my grandfather was a rancher in Nebraska, and that guy literally has welded pieces of vehicles together and made abominations. But
cool.
Just so I had a little bit of that do-it-yourself mentality from both sides of my family. And but as far as personally, I would say maybe 10, 12, 13 years ago, kind of got into it.
So why did you make an intentional move to say I'm choosing this lifestyle?
You know what? I think it's just I've always been one of those people that sometimes it's a fault of mine. I don't like to ask for help, and I would rather be able to do something on my own, and I hate to be in need. Not that sometimes, if my transmission goes out, my father-in-law is a master mechanic, and that's way beyond what my mental capability is. So I have no problem asking for help when I need it, but I just like to just be capable, just be able to do more things for myself. And that's ultimately kind of why I'm interested in it. It's more satisfaction. I can buy a tomato from the store, but dang, that tomato that I grew in my garden tastes that much better.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Now, you are in Arizona. Are you in high desert Arizona?
So I'm south of Tucson, but I'm a little bit higher in elevation. So we're at about 4,000 feet in elevation. So once or twice a year, we'll see snow flurries at my house, maybe even stick. But by and large, we still are in the desert. So
is heat the biggest challenge, or is it water?
Both. So heat, we're not quite as bad. If people are familiar with Tucson or Phoenix, Tucson's about 5 to 7 degrees cooler than Phoenix, and we're about 5 to 6 degrees cooler than Tucson. So it's definitely hot, but it's not unbearable. But the water is probably the biggest thing. We live in an area where I don't have a well. I built my house and I was going to drill a well, and I started getting estimates, and they were way beyond what I wanted to pay for.
Yeah.
It's funny. I see videos on people drilling wells in Florida with a garden hose and some PVC pipe. Would love to do it myself, but if you can do that 800 plus feet down here, come at it. Yeah, so they're like 10, 15, 17,000 or more dollars for a well in some areas here, specifically where my land is. And there's no guarantee you're going to get good water. So basically, I started running the numbers, and I figured it would be cheaper for me to try to harvest most of my rainwater. And so far, knock on wood, it's been working pretty well.
So what you're saying is we need to get over and start a GoFundMe account for your well.
If I have a well, I'll start that fish pond right away.
There you go. There you go. So now your chicken coop, one thing I've seen and I loved your rain catchment system for your chicken coop. And folks, you got to go see his videos. This guy is kind of like, he's like, I don't know if you know the Deep South Homestead channel, Danny and Wanda over there. He's kind of like the redneck MacGyver, but you're absolutely his cousin, and you just don't know it. You guys haven't met. Somehow there's a family relation in there because he comes up with these ideas that I see completely mirrored in what you do. And it's just like, well, I need to make this happen. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it myself, and I'll make it cheaply, and it's going to work, and it's going to be cool, and yay, everything works. But your rain catchment system was really, really awesome. But I was looking at that chicken coop going, all right, we're in high desert, Arizona. I'm looking at this like that's got to be predator land. Do you have a problem with predators?
Yes. So my favorite rooster of all time, I've had two roosters since we've been keeping chickens. The first one was, like many people have horror stories of roosters, the one that would chase you and, really a tough rooster. But we had an awesome rooster that was fine around. My daughter could walk right up next to him. He was fine. But I also saw him charge out when a hawk was flying above. So like he had that perfect mix of,
cool.
Of protective instinct, and I would throw worms out from the garden to the chickens, and he would run over there and stand there and let the girls eat first. I mean,
wow.
Really the best. But anyway, so I let them free range almost every day, and I was inside the garage doing something, heard the commotion, and a coyote came and got that rooster, unfortunately.
Oh no. What was his name? The tragic, fateful day. What was his?
You know what? He didn't have a name. It was just
that was the
rooster.
problem, dude. You tested the fates. You need to name your roosters, and you can't name them like dinner and lunch or General So.
Oh no. These we're actually looking for another rooster because I really enjoyed having him. But yeah, so we have coyotes here. We have bobcats, skunks. Believe it or not, are actually a problem in this area. I'm trying to think.
They go after the chickens or the eggs.
What's that?
Do they go after the chickens or the eggs?
I don't know about the eggs. I've never seen one. I'm sure they consume them. But my in-laws, who I'm building a chicken coop for right now, they had, I think twice, a skunk burrowed underneath and got one of the chickens by the neck and stuck it down in. So they walked down to the coop that morning. They saw two legs sticking up, with the hind end. Oh. And the chicken was pretty much drained out. I'm not aware that skunks will go for blood, but I don't know if that was
vampire skunk over there. That's
yeah. Crazy. So now my father-in-law, he's actually remedied that. Their chicken yard has a chain link fence that goes like 2.5 feet down. They got electric fence. I mean, it's pretty much it's more bomb-proof than mine is.
Hardcore. So now, moving forward in your homestead, in your channel, what are the goals that you want to achieve coming up soon?
Well, one of the big goals, was the sunken greenhouse project. But as far as like long-term goals, like are you talking like videos or like what I want to,
We'll get to the YouTube stuff in just a minute because I'm selfishly wanting to know a little bit about that because you make really good videos. But your homesteading goals.
Eventually, I think like most homesteaders, I would eventually love to be off-grid. I would love to have solar panels and just do it all here. Now, with the amount of power tools that I use, I don't know if that's ever truly practical. But that would be like a goal. If you watch my rainwater harvesting video, I state that I'm about 95% off-grid water-wise. I would like to make that 100% with extra, and I'm currently working on some other plans to harvest quite a bit of extra rain so we can be 100%. So I would say, yeah, off-grid power and water, but the power thing, that's so far in the future. I need to have more
Well,
cash
have
income.
you seen the Tesla batteries that they're just releasing?
The power walls.
That looks stinking amazing. And what, they're like 3,500 bucks? That seems like it's very doable.
I totally agree. I was actually amazed. I had a buddy of mine said, "Hey, have you seen the new solar batteries?" And I had when I built the house, I looked a lot into solar, and I almost pulled the trigger on doing a solar system when we were building the house, but it was going to make our loan substantially more, and I just didn't want to do it. So I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, okay, really? Is it that good? And I was expecting it to be like $7,000 or $8,000 for
Oh,
this, and these are initial batteries coming out. So I actually think the cost is going to go down. But yeah, that's a huge thing that I would love to experiment.
yeah, it seems like that was the real barrier to making solar affordable, and not only just affordable, but usable on a practical level is the battery banks. And I am just so hopeful. I mean, I'm saving up my pennies, and maybe next tax season, because I've got 7 kids, so tax season's actually not bad for us. It's good for us. It's like a savings account. So I might try to, see if I can get hold of one of those batteries next tax season. But now, in terms of your video content, okay, viewers out there, you've got if you've not gone to his channel, just hit pause right now. Go over there and hit subscribe. You're gonna thank me for it. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on anything, because not only is his content very good, but the video quality of the making of it. You spent a lot of time doing this. And it's clear to me that you spent a lot of time and a lot of thought into doing these things. So take me through, what does it take time wise for you to make one of these videos? Because I know it's not a quick thing.
Well, Brad, I've seen enough of your videos to know that you know this very well. I've been really impressed by like your quality of the sound. That's actually a weakness of mine. I do everything just with the microphone on the camera. I don't have everything where I can plug it in or dub in the video after. But as far as making a video, people who've done it, they all know it just adds so much time to your projects. And there's been a lot of projects that I literally have done, and I regretted it afterwards, but I said, I just need to get this thing done. And I didn't film anything, and it really made me mad. But basically, it's a lot of running back and forth to the camera, seeing if you have good enough light.
Hmm.
I never really was concerned in the beginning, and then I started posting some of these videos, and I looked back at some of the old videos and said, oh, I can barely even see the screwdriver. Yeah, so it's a lot of just running back and forth, hitting play, doing your action, because basically you're trying to tell a story.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes I'll do like a chicken coop tour. Like, I don't have any video of making my own chicken coop, but I built the chicken coop and then I just walked around, gave a tour of it. But every video, as you know, you're trying to tell a story. In the beginning of the video, I usually do an intro where I'm telling people, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and this is kind of why I'm doing it. And I usually try to infer or impress upon them that I'm not an expert, so it's not necessarily the right way to do it. And then I go and I film kind of the whole process. I'm a very chronological person in my mind. So I know there's like some awesome people who make videos that are so far beyond what I can do. And they really have, it's a very artistic way of putting stuff together. But most of my videos, it's a start to finish kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then I get all that stuff in, I put it in, right now I use iMovie for everything.
Yeah.
A 2011 version of iMovie, which is borderline. I'm about ready to go to Final Cut or something like that, just so I can have some more, not have to do dash 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 with a little squiggle to make an arrow. I want to make them a little bit better. But yeah, so I put it in the video editor, and then I watch the video. And for every, one of the most common questions like my family and friends ask me, because I've always been a pretty shy person. I hate hearing myself talk on an audio recording, or especially a video. And then you got to watch yourself. You got to make sure it makes sense, and then just kind of splice it together. And it's not too technical, but there is a learning curve. But I would say making a video of a project adds 4 or 5 times time to what it would take just to do that project. I don't know if that kind of answered their question or
Yeah.
if I branched off too
No,
much.
no, you're good. And you know, the thing is that I was going to tell you in terms of the audio, it's a whole nother level to what you're talking about because not only are you walking back and forth, now you're tethered. And you for the first little bit, you're going to forget that you have this microphone on. You're going to pull it off. You're going to knock the camera over. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And so consider wireless. When you make the jump, consider a wireless system. It'll save you a lot of hassle. Yeah, it's more money, but you know, and I got to say though, I can tell that you have the on camera mic, but trust me, you're a cut above most audio on YouTube.
Well, thanks. I will say there was one video. I can't remember what it was, but I don't have that great of hearing. I have a little bit of hearing loss from years of hunting and shooting guns. So I usually have my wife watch all my videos now to make sure the music's not too high in one area or the voice isn't too high. And I had a couple of my videos that were pretty poor in that realm. So now I try to make sure everything's kind of even. If anything, I would rather have the music a little low
Yeah.
than a little high because especially if somebody doesn't like music for me is just to kind of pass the time. And also when I do the voiceover, I just use these simple earbuds.
Yeah.
I don't have a special microphone. So when I do it, there is just a tiny bit of hum.
Oh.
So, it kind of covers over that just so people aren't, they hear the hum click on and then my voice starts talking and then the hum stops. So if people are wondering, that's one of the big reasons about putting music is to smooth everything out.
It is funny because every once in a while I'll get in a rush and I will not put out exactly my 100%. It'll be like a 70% video, and I'm like, I need some content. I got to do it. And I get shtick like no other now. It's like, dang it, why did I have to go and just cut the corner? And because it's just a bad thing when you're like people expect it, and then you just one day didn't have a great day, and they'll let you know, man. They're gonna let you know.
I think it's like that rising to the level. So you start out like if somebody looks back and if they know how to use YouTube and they look at the videos and they go chronological a couple years back, and your audio's crappy or video's shaky, I think people are more forgiving. But if you get I would consider like I'm an okay level, but like I said, I would love to keep improving.
Yeah.
If you go down, people like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
You got some extra wind noise and different stuff like that, which wind noise bugs me when I'm watching videos. If there's too much, a little bit, I don't, I understand people are outside, but
yeah. So all right, going back to homesteading as we're kind of gonna wrap up here in just a little bit. Now, let's say that you're talking to the viewer is a person who is either a very beginning homesteader or is just on that edge of wanting to learn a little more and start the self-reliant life. What would you say to them to be an encouragement?
I would definitely say, because this is a mistake I've made, and I know it's kind of cliche, but take it one step at a time. Like focus on one thing you want to try to do. Like you want to learn how to can, just learn how to can. Don't buy the canning stuff and then a table saw and then a goat pen and then a goat and chickens all in the same week, because you are not going to know, and you're going to end up losing your chickens, losing your goats. Your food's going to go bad while you're trying to can it because you didn't focus on that one thing. And I say that from personal experience because sometimes I get on Amazon and, oh, wow, this seems like a great idea. You click it, and then it comes there, and then it sits there for a while.
Yeah. So, okay, well, as we're rounding out the evening or whenever you're watching the video, who knows, what the heck. I just got to encourage you guys, once again, hit pause, go over to Homesteadonomics, click subscribe, and then you come right back here and comment and tell Brad how awesome it is and how much you're grateful for sending you over to Joe's channel, because it is honestly one of those channels that entertains as much as it educates, and it's high quality, and I thank you for that, Joe.
Well, I think you're being too generous. But real quick, can I say two shout-outs?
Absolutely.
To Danny Fox and Permaculture Homestead. Those are the two guys that had mentioned on your video about if there was anybody that they wanted you to interview.
Yeah.
I remember scrolling down and I saw both of their names. They're awesome. They always comment. Permaculture Homestead, he's got a great channel. He does a lot of similar type of stuff. So anyway, I just want to do a quick shout out to those
Absolutely,
guys.
man. And I'm grateful too, because I'm going to be a haunt on your channel now myself. So everyone, go over there, check him out. I'm Brad with the Big Family Homestead, and we got Joe with Homesteadonomics. And well, sir, you have yourself an amazing day.
All right, you too.